2 weeks ago, something significant happened while I was on retreat. I had a Kensho or spiritual awakening or a clear view into the true nature of reality, which is seeing through the illusion of separation. So things have shifted for me in both a subtle and dramatic way at the same time. So I want to talk about what it was like, how it's impacted me, and what my day to day is like now, and how things have shifted. I'll talk about the retreat in another video, but basically, at one point, I asked the universe to be gentle with me. And then I was doing a walking contemplation in these fields, and I was looking around, and all of a sudden, quite subtly, but still all of a sudden in hindsight, I saw that everything was me. I remember I walked into there was this big field, very muddy field, puddles. There was a tree with a kite. And I remember looking at this just with utter awe and just a sense of beauty and love. And so I had this vista, this view in front of me, and it was so clear that I was the loving, aware presence. And this is, I think, a really important point is, for me, awareness has that loving quality, that blissful element to it. So I was the loving awareness, not behind the eyes, rather in it. But at the same time, I was everything I could see. So subject, object went. And there was a very clear seeing of no self too. Because on the retreat, it's about speaking from that place. And it was so clear to me that it was not Simon speaking, it was the universe speaking. And the people I was speaking to, that was the universe speaking too. So this was my experience on the retreat. And I came back. And then, so what I've really noticed since is a few things. Number one, it was quite disorientating for my wife when I came home, because I remember sitting on the couch with her and she was saying, it's like you're not here. And that Simon, it's weird speaking like this. Simon has come back a lot more since then. But at that point, it was clear that there was a real absence of Simon. I would say 75% of Simonness had gone, because the work I've done even prior to this shift and right before it is about dismantling the ego structure. And so with that transparency, the universe, the self, whatever you want to call it, was able to speak absolutely through. So the first night I got home and it was a little disorientating for my wife. The next morning, we're getting the kids ready for school, and it was typically chaotic. I couldn't rush. I had zero reactivity. And this is, I think, when gradually my wife's really come around to it, is that, that reactivity is completely gone. And I can't imagine, it may do, I can't imagine it coming back. And that sense of not being able to rush, like to write a to-do list now seems kind of ridiculous. There has been a very strong sense of just going with the flow. And my tastes have changed. I've surprised my wife a couple of times last week by, when she was coming home from work, I went out and made vegetarian dishes, cliched, put the candles up. Like, I've been fastidiously tidy. I can't walk anywhere without picking up litter. It takes me so much longer to get anywhere. Another thing is, I haven't been able to leave the present moment. So that propensity to be able to worry about the future or think about the past, can't do it. I actually went into London on the train today. And obviously everyone's on their phone, but I'm just looking out the window and it's like, whoa. Which reminds me, actually, I said about when I had the shift and I was looking at a field, when I went into the dining hall in this place where I was on retreat, and honestly, it was like I'd never seen the room before. I was just looking around. Wow. like I've never seen it before. I'm sure most of you have read Power of Now when Eckhart Tolle talks about that. That passage that he talks about at the beginning, where it was like looking around and seeing everything for the first time, I absolutely resonate with that. And actually thinking about it, a lot of the books I like reading about Zen or I Am That, which is over my shoulder, when I read them now, they make absolute sense in a way that they resonated before. Now they make total sense. So that's been a shift. Another shift has been my energy. Genuinely, it's like I've been plugged into a mains. And the way I describe this is that I feel like previously my energy, a lot of it was used up in the head, in the ego, so to speak. But with that dismantling and eventually something of a collapse, it means that the energy is free to go around my body. And so it's like I've been plugged into a mains. And sometimes the waves have actually been intense. Right now, I can sense it here, and it's nice. But my energy's gone through the roof. I've been waking up at like 4, 5 a.m. just yeah. So my energy's incredible. That's settled down a bit. It was intense at times, particularly in that first week. It has settled down, but yes, it's that's a really nice byproduct, and it's so much more kind of in the body. There's very little going on in my head. Now there are still thoughts coming up, but it's like there's nothing for them to stick to. So they'll come up and then choo, 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 choo. What else? Let me just have a quick look. No self, ego, reactivity, energy. Yes. And then Simon is more back, as I've already said, which is nice because I'm fond of him. But at the same time, I know in my bones that, to quote Nisargadatta, I am that. You are that. There is nothing but that. Literally, I am that. It's all that. That's the incredible thing about seeing through the illusion of separation. I knew it to a certain degree before this shift. That now I've seen it directly, and it's the most beautiful thing, non-separation, because truly there is nothing but love, because it's all one. It's all love. It's all the I am. That's it. Anyway, I've been doing coaching since my shift, and I've been pleasantly surprised that it hasn't changed much. I still very much focus on like doing the work of not bypassing our emotions and feelings, going in there and digging, because it's that digging that allows the gold that is our true nature to shine. And I've been so pleased that that work, which for me has been foundational of all my spiritual practices that have led up to this point, that work of coming into my feelings, listening to my intuition, taking loving actions on my own behalf, etc., that has been the key work. And I'm so pleased that in my coaching that hasn't changed. However, the degree of presence with which I am in the coaching sessions now has just gone through the roof. And it is the presence that does the work. And that presence is beautiful. And that presence is me, and it is you, and there is nothing but that. And it's so wonderful to see that. Anyway, just thought I wanted to share that with you. Till next time.